TC-Helicon Singers Clubhouse. Gear, effects, tips and tricks. Your complete vocal experience. Oh, and Tom and Craig.
Now, I don't know if it's going to come out in the recording because it is pretty loud in the intro, but Tom was totally talking all during the intro and commenting and stuff. And I'm like,
oh, yeah, she looks nice. Oops. Oh, yeah, we're not supposed to talk. Okay, so Craig.
Welcome back from Leeds.
Thank you.
We were talking last week about how you had gone to LA and then you were going off to the UK.
World traveler, babe. That's me.
And you had like real silverware on the plane and all that kind of stuff. And you smoked the whole time.
Champagne before takeoff.
It was just full of cigarette smoke all the time. Yeah.
Used to be that way.
Reading your Life magazine that was this big.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was actually in Leeds, which is a college of music in Leeds, which is in the UK. And it's a wonderful, wonderful school. The students were terrific. We did a concert. We showed them our gear.
Cool.
We let them get their hands on it.
Nice.
And we had some, we met some great, wonderful people. And hopefully we're going to get a whole bunch of video of everything we did.
Nice.
So we went out with Whitney Meyer, and there was another artist, Kieran Peacock, who was fantastic. And I really hope we can give him a link to that eventually.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we just came back from crazy Canadian Thanksgiving that's like in the wrong month for Americans and all that, or at least, I don't know. Did they do it in November or October? I can't remember. It's November.
We should know that. We don't.
We don't. We're totally ignorant.
There's a big line.
Yeah. So we decided to flip around the order of the show this week because the question we got in that we thought was really good kind of leads into the deep dive and the analysis paralysis. So we're going to start with Community Chest. So the question from this week was how to interface with a sound person. Mm-hmm. I think that's a really good question.
Where does the jack go?
Yeah, exactly. Where do you plug into his matrix port in the back of the head? I think there's a lot of trepidation on the side or on the end of the sound person saying, "What the heck is this thing you're trying to put in my mic signal?"
Fear too.
Yeah, I'm used to doing all these things. I've had something go wrong in the past with one of these things before, or whatever. Yeah. So I guess what they're looking for is how do you sort of talk to the person? What words can you say that are if you're not a super technical person, what sort of words do you use to kind of get across the point of I'm controlling my own thing?
First of all, you start with a psychology degree.
Exactly.
In interpersonal relationships.
Absolutely.
You got to
do a trust exercise where you fall back into each other's arms, all that kind of stuff.
This can take a little while. So
exactly. I think the first place to start is if you've got tone on, which is in most of our products, you're already taking care of equalization, compression, de-essing, gating, all those things.
You're taking care of the tone.
The overall sound
bass
of your
and
voice.
treble.
Yeah. And I think the sound person needs to know, normally they're tweaking a lot of those things on their end. And you need to be able to tell them, flatten all the EQs and turn off compression and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm going to be handling it. And you can tweak it from there.
Yeah.
Put it in their hands and say,
please turn off everything.
Yeah, just start at zero.
No effects, no compression, no nothing. I'll give you what I give you. And if you want to add more, please feel free to, within limits, of course, because at least as far as effects are concerned, you're saying, this is kind of how I'd like it to be.
Yeah.
When those echoes happen, I want them to happen right there.
Yeah.
Whereas,
you wouldn't tell a guitar player, you wouldn't take a guitar player's sound that has a perfect reverb for that sound and add a whole bunch more to it. It's just most of the time
that's a producer's job.
Exactly. Most of the time vocalists aren't sending a signal with effects on it. So there's a bit of a just getting used to the idea that the vocalist will control what they're doing.
Yeah. The main sound man fear is feedback.
Yes,
feedback
for sure.
happens on the stage and everybody looks at the sound man and the poor guy's like, sorry.
Yeah.
Or sound person. So that's why they're a little bit afraid of that. And the combination of having tone, where you're actually brightening and removing some mud, that combination plus the fact that our products have a little bit of a hotter output.
Right. So it's coming louder to the mixer.
It's coming louder than if he just had a mic connected to a singer.
Yeah.
So what happens is oftentimes, they'll have you just into the monitors and they'll unmute your channel and tweet. They get some feedback. So as long as they know before they unmute that channel, you've discussed ahead of time that I'm going to give you a bit of a hotter signal. Yeah. It's going to be a little brighter, and I'm going to have my effect. So just to let you know, to bring that trim down.
Yeah.
Once they have that heads up, they feel a little bit more confident that you know what you're talking about, and that you're considering them. You're not just saying, "This is my processor, take it or leave it."
Yeah. You say, "This is my processor, take it or leave it. Here's a beer."
Yeah. Here's a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, exactly. We don't condone smoking, Tom Lang.
I do not.
I think that's really good advice. It's just, saying the right words like flat meaning nothing on the EQ, that kind of stuff. Because oftentimes, the sound person knows all those terms, but a singer might not, because it's just not part of the sort of conversation a lot of times. I think that's really cool. So let's actually go into...
This is what flat sounds like.
Exactly. We'll go into analysis paralysis, where we're going to show you a couple of ways you might want to use the effects and why it would change on the other end for the sound person.
Right. So
I played the wrong bumper. Okay, quick, analysis paralysis.
Oh, that one. So is it 3 or 5?
It's number 4, and I pushed number 5. So we've done that. I could edit it out, but I think I'd rather just
don't.
leave it stupid. Leave exactly. This is live.
This is supposed to be a Clubhouse. We should both be having cups of coffee.
Exactly.
And, there should be some, ladies' underwear here, a bra over there.
I was thinking Archie Comics, Clubhouse, but whatever. We'll take it to that.
We've reached 13 years old.
Okay. So when the sound person normally gets a mic signal, what do they hear?
They normally hear this a little quieter than this.
Okay. You put on tone and they hear...
So you say, okay, you ready? Here we go. And then it just gets brighter and the mud goes away. It takes a sec to adapt sometimes. And you give them this, and actually most sound people should go, whoa, decent, thank you very much, because it frees them up from having to go, to play around with the knobs and all that kind of stuff. And then the next thing they hear is, reverb. And actually, that's the hall reverb. That's the long one. So, hopefully you don't say, okay, I'm going to sing the whole night with that. And I'm going to talk to the audience like this. Hey, how's everybody doing? All right. Sounds like an empty hall and nobody's come to see your band.
So that's a really good thing. We were talking about the analysis paralysis there. Right. Okay, so tone is going to come on. Which reverb do you choose? Now, you can bend down and change them between songs, but you may want to set a little less than half for hall, a little less than half for room, or whatever it is that you're in. But you can actually turn and change them. So the general rule of thumb is the faster the song, the smaller the room sound. It kind of correlates together. Yep. So I think that's a really cool thing to go by. If you're singing a ballad, chuck it in a hall. If you're singing sort of a mid-tempo song, chuck it in a club. And if you're singing quite a quick, fast-paced song, put it in room. Yeah. It's a smaller club. Very good tip. Turning it on and talking to the audience the whole time. It makes it's not as bad as harmony being on, but it's still just a little bit unprofessional.
Speaking of harmony being on, I just told you I was at Leeds with a couple of other singers. Whitney and I both at the end of it. No, it sounds great, and everybody's thinking these guys really know what we're talking about. So what I had on there was, and it's just it happened about 10 times, and there's 10 cameras, everybody taking videos of us. It's okay, guys, you're learning that you never want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm leading by example, right?
Yeah, really.
Cool. So that sort of sums up when you'd want to use the reverbs. Let's show them something deeper about Mic Mechanic in the deep dive when I do the bumper at the right time.
Hit the right one.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so we're going to focus on the product for a sec after this because in Mic Mechanic, we hid a little Easter egg. A couple of them really, but the first one's pretty easy. It's if you're using an echo, so let's just go straight to an echo, like an echo only. And then turning on the effect. So now you got your echo. You can set
what if the song's a different tempo?
Yeah, what if exactly. Yeah. So you can set your tempo by pressing and holding the buttons. We're going to go down here.
Pressing and holding this button?
No, the foot switch, sorry.
Oh, the other button.
The other button. There's 2 buttons, I'm sorry. Now you can tap it.
Oh, that's so cool. How fast can we go?
Pretty fast. Tom's got quick fingers here.
You can almost get a longer slap there. I'm just a hunk of burning love.
I am, actually.
Of course. So the other thing that we put in there was the number of taps on an echo is called the feedback. So it's the amount of times it kind of comes back into the system and makes another
feedback
echo.
Is such a bad name for
I know,
but that's the technical name.
Yeah, exactly. To adjust that, you can...
Let's go to a shorter...
Sure.
More reasonable.
Yeah, something we can hear.
And I had to have had the
echo on.
There we go. Okay, so now it's really obvious. If you wanted those echoes to go on for a lot longer, you can press and hold the tone button and turn the middle knob there
at the same time.
At the same time.
Okay,
yeah.
let me see if I can do the one hand.
Okay, let's do it.
And
two. And then now. Ah.
good trick.
Right, so that gives you more of a special effect sound in the one hand, and the other one is more of a controlled sound. So that is a little deep dive into mic mechanic, which I think is a cool hidden feature in there.
Yeah, it's cool that we sort of do these little product placement things in here where we talk about general singing.
Tom, it's not product placement.
Ixnay on the product placement play.
It's coincidental product location optimization.
Optimization.
Cool. Thanks for coming and hanging out again for another
Live
week.
in Leeds, baby!
He's gonna bash it. He's gonna bash it.
We won't get fooled again.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you
Bye.
next week. Bye.